Hello everyone, before we start this video I'd like to ask a favor of all of you. I thoroughly enjoy making these videos. I always have and will always continue to do so, for a number of reasons that I cannot fully comprehend, i.e. COVID lockdowns easing, burnout, commentary falling apart, YouTube killing channels. My channel has suffered too. If you would like to help this channel, please consider doing so by smashing the like, leaving a comment, and sharing the video. These very simple steps do help this channel immensely, and I as a channel would like to try and get back on track. Additionally, and as a final thing before we start, I am uploading, in the process of, all Halls of Injustice videos to the channel formerly called Omegon Plays. I don't stream on there anymore, it is now called Judge Moist. It is exclusively crime content. Hopefully, within a month or two we will have caught up with uploading everything from here there as well, while we continue to upload Halls of Injustice here as well. Link to that channel down below. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, subdates 220615.9. The Halls of Injustice has gotten a little dusty owing to a lack of content from us. That is about to change. Crime doesn't stop, much like CSI, NCIS and Law & Order, even though they really should. So nor shall we, because I am the law. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Halls of Injustice. Today we welcome inmate number 129 to the ISO cubes. He is going to be here, not for long, but he really should be. He is in the United Kingdom, somewhat well known as an athlete, well, right-handed, which could make him a fantastic masturbator if that was an athletic competition, but his involves throwing pointy objects, not a javelin, a dart. I am of course speaking, if you're English you'll know who he is, about the Count, Ted Hankey. For this, I'd like to now tell you all about him, because I know who he is. I watch darts, what he has done, what the charges are, the trial itself and the sentence, along with my sentence. So let us now begin with the tale of who Edward the Count Hankey is. Ted Hankey is a 54-year-old man from Stoke-on-Trent in England. Ted Hankey was nicknamed the Count, a nickname he acquired during his time for the BDO, which is one of two governing bodies in darts, the other being the PDC. The PDC is where all the money is. The BDO had its heyday, and Ted Hankey competed during that time, winning the world title in 2000 and 2009, and being a runner-up in 2001. In 2012, he actually moved from the BDO to the PDC, but lost his tour card in 2014 because he'd slipped down the rankings to number 94. I think him having a stroke at some point during that may well have played a part in that. Ted Hankey is a very fickle and brittle man. When the audience is against him, it gets under his skin, enough so that if they do manage to get under his skin at the right moment, he'll just walk up the archy and punch the dartboard, which he's done before, threatening to quit the game because of it, only to then reverse his decision later on. When Ted Hankey left the BDO, he had actually claimed that the reason for it was because the air conditioning was deliberately turned on when he was throwing, and this meant he would not leave the BDO as the world champion. During his career, he had 2 runs with the BDO and 2 runs in the PDC. Because of the stroke, though, in 2012, his career, his earnings declined massively, and in 2018 he was declared bankrupt. His last competition was in 2016, so he can be considered retired. Ted Hankey has 3 children, and up until May 2022, he had a wife as well. They are now currently in the process of divorcing. I wonder why. So I guess now we should talk about the crimes of Ted Hankey. On September the 16th, Ted Hankey was reported to the police by a girl who we will call Jane Doe, after she had claimed that he had sexually assaulted her. Ted Hankey was arrested on the exact same day. During questioning, he denied committing the offense, and subsequently answered no comment after he was then shown something. What do you think he was shown that meant his whole denial of committing the offense was a lie to the police? You're right. He was shown video footage of him sexually assaulting Jane Doe. Jane Doe is under 18, believed to be around 16 years old, and he had believed that nobody would believe her until you, Ted Hankey, were shown the evidence. That is a quote from Judge Everett. When video evidence is presented to then show that you have in fact committed the offense and you then go on to deny and then no comment regardless, things don't look good for you. How entitled are you that you think you are allowed someone else's body to use them as a chew toy? I know there isn't much for this particular segment and I do apologize, but all reporting of this focused heavily on the trial, which was very short, and the sentence. So that is where we shall go next. The judge had for this particular case dismissed all media and all witnesses so that the video of the attack could be played. It also confirmed that the date of the attack was September the 10th, 2021. During the trial, Simon Parry, prosecuting, detailed who Ted Hankey was and said that when Hankey was arrested, he flatly denied any wrongdoing, expressing amazement that he had been arrested and did not know why she was saying what she had said by saying, "Why would I do that?" In a victim impact statement read to the court, Jane Doe indicated that she suffers continuing distress, panic attacks, and heart palpitations, adding, "As a result of this crime, I believe I have developed PTSD. This crime has had a major impact on my mental health. I am very distrusting of males. I find it very difficult to have any physical contact with others." Mark Connor, who was defending Ted Hankey, had asked for a suspended jail sentence, saying that the assault was opportunist and that Ted had actually admitted to the offense and wanted to apologize for his behavior, and that is because during an earlier hearing he had decided to plead guilty. Don't worry though, folks, Judge Everett saw through that BS. I'm surprised they didn't argue diminished health, since Ted Hankey had pulled out December of last year of the World Championship Senior Tournament. But it's okay everyone, he was just an opportunist and really needed to empty his balls. Before we get to what the judge said when passing sentence, I want to now look at UK law on this, because sexual assault is very serious, and the sentence should reflect that. So for the UK law, we go to the Sexual Offences Act of 2003. Rape is defined as a person, A, commits an offence if he intentionally penetrates the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person with his penis. The person does not consent to the penetration, and A, does not reasonably believe that B consents, B being the other person. 2. Whether a belief is reasonable is to be determined having regard to all the circumstances, including any steps A has taken to ascertain whether B consents. A person guilty of an offence under this section is liable on conviction on indictment to imprisonment for life. That is a hefty sentence, especially if you've been caught in the act. When one is charged with sexual assault, which is what Ted Hankey pled guilty to, not rape, the offence range is community order up to 7 years custody, with a maximum being 10 years custody. You then have to determine the category for it. You have categories 1, 2, and 3 for harm. Category 1 including severe psychological or physical harm, abduction, violence or threats of violence, forced uninvited entry into the victim's home. Category 2, touching of naked genitalia or naked breasts, prolonged detention, sustained incident, additional degradation, humiliation. Victim is particularly vulnerable due to personal circumstances. Category 3 are factors in categories 1 and 2 that are not present. You have culpability with categories A and B, and it is with that you have category 1, 2, and 3, A and B, determining the sentencing guideline for it. For the sake of what we know so far, category 1 for harm is a definite, and A for culpability because recording of offence, while not recorded by him, it is still evidence, and therefore it should be category 1A, which by that definition should then mean his starting point is 4 years custody with a category range of 3 to 7 years in custody. A guilty plea eventually does sometimes change that. So now we should get to the sentence, the full sentence, and statements from the judge and the police. Edward the Count Hankey, aka inmate number 129, found guilty of sexual assault. was sentenced to 2 years in prison, which means yes, he'll be out in 1. He is also subject to an indefinite restraining order banning him from contacting Jane Doe for life, and he will be placed on the sex offenders register for the next 10 years. An additional consequence for Ted Hankey is the fact that his wife and his 3 children now want nothing to do with him. An even bigger punishment is knowing that you now no longer have friends nor family to support you because of your terrible decisions. Following the case, Detective Constable Laura Bradshaw said that the evidence that she provided proved vital in Hankey's prosecution and left him with no option but to plead guilty to the charge against him. While the victim will never be able to forget what Hankey subjected her to, I do hope that the conclusion of this case provides some closure and enables her to move forward with her life. Victims should never feel ashamed to talk about what they have been subjected to, and they will receive help and support they need from specialist officers. When sentencing, Judge Everett simply said that Ted Hankey would have denied it to the bitter end had it not been filmed, which summed up this entire case perfectly. My view on this case is a little simpler. The sentence is inadequate. The indefinite restraining order, sure. The sex offenders register, sure. Prison time, though, no. He's 54. He's got a few good years left in him. Therefore, the sentence is life, without the possibility of parole, working in a prison camp. Ta-ta, Ted Hankey.